Urgent, G-Men fan, look at what just happened. Nobody saw this coming, huh? But first, make sure to subscribe to the channel because we bring you daily videos with the latest Big Blue news, and don't forget to turn on notifications so you don't miss anything. Giants just met with a QB who could shake up their draft board, put Kyle McCord on the board. The New York Giants might not be locked in on a quarterback with their third overall pick in the 2025 NFL Draft, but that hasn't stopped them from checking every box behind the scenes, including hosting one of the most productive passers in college football for a visit. Syracuse quarterback Kyle McCord, a New Jersey native and former Ohio State signal caller, visited East Rutherford on Tuesday as part of the Giants' final wave of pre-draft top 30 meetings, per Jordan Schultz. It's not a headline grabber like Shadir Sanders or Cam Ward, but it could be a meaningful glimpse into New York's draft priorities. After signing Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston in free agency, the Giants stabilized the position on paper, but those moves were always about short-term competency. The long-term outlook remains wide open. Holding the number 3 pick in the draft, Joe Schoen has options including defensive stars like Colorado's Travis Hunter or Penn State's Abdul Carter. It's not guaranteed that a quarterback is the pick, especially with Cam Ward expected to go number 1 to Tennessee. He won't make it to 3. Giants kick tires on New Jersey-born QB with record-setting resume. McCord isn't a household name. The 6'3", 220-pound quarterback put up gaudy numbers in his lone season at Syracuse after transferring from Ohio State, leading the FBS in passing yards 4,779, completions 391, and yards per game 367. He also threw 34 touchdowns and finished 10th in Heisman voting. Per Schultz, McCord has impressed teams throughout the draft process with his film work and whiteboard sessions. He's viewed by some evaluators as one of the more undervalued quarterbacks in the class, thanks to his size, poise, and ability to read defenses. He also rallied Syracuse from a 21-point deficit against Miami, showing grit and leadership when it mattered most. Still, McCord isn't a sure thing. His lack of athleticism limits his off-script ceiling, and his arm strength, while functional probably, won't blow anyone away. He profiles more like a future backup or game manager, but one who could stick in the league for a while with the right coaching and development. And that's right where the Giants come in. With Brian Daboll, Mike Kafka, and Shea Tierney all overseeing QB development, McCord could be a low-risk, high-floor project who doesn't need to be rushed into action. If the G-men use their top picks on defense or offensive line help, and McCord slides into round 3 or 4, it's not hard to imagine them pulling the trigger. Ultimately, this visit reinforces a key point: the Giants are leaving no stone unturned. Whether it's Sanders or a day 3 flyer like McCord, they're committed to finding a long-term answer. And McCord, fresh off one of the most statistically dominant seasons in college football, might just be the Jersey-bred sleeper pick that makes sense when nobody's looking. Pausing this news just to say that if you want YouTube to keep recommending the latest Big Blue news to you, it's very important that you leave a like on this video. Thanks. Now let's get back to the news. Giants' $31 million star linked to 3 teams. In blockbuster trade pitch, the New York Giants may be holding out hope that edge rusher Kayvon Thibodeau can emerge as a star pass rusher alongside Brian Burns, but his name has come up recently in potential trade ideas. The Giants have to make a decision on Thibodeau's rookie contract, as his 5th-year option must be exercised or declined by the end of May 1st. It seems likely they will pick up the $16 million fully guaranteed option, but there's a world in which they look to get some draft capital back after using the number 3 pick on Penn State star Abdul Carter. Ian Valentino of the 33rd team believes there will be a handful of potential trade destinations for Thibodeau if he hits the market, including the New York Jets, Arizona Cardinals, and Cincinnati Bengals. Concerns about adding Abdul Carter to the pass rush duo of Brian Burns and Kayvon Thibodeau are overblown to me, but it makes sense for New York to dangle Thibodeau in a trade back into the first round. Leaving round 1 with Carter and a quarterback would be ideal, and it would avoid giving up major draft capital, Valentino wrote. In 2024, Thibodeau put together a strong campaign despite finishing with only 5 sacks. His 42 total pressures were just 6 fewer than his career-high mark, and he was on pace for 59 total pressures had he played a full season, per Next Gen Stats. Thibodeau has yet to reach his full potential, so it doesn't make a whole lot of sense to trade him away for anything. Teams are always looking for pass rush help, and even adding Carter in the draft wouldn't automatically mean the Giants need to trade Thibodeau away. New York could find a way to make all three work together efficiently. With that said, the NFL is always full of surprises, so even if it's unlikely, it's a scenario to keep in the back of our minds. New York Giants were in close contact with another All-Pro quarterback before signing Russell Wilson. The New York Giants started the offseason with former undrafted player Tommy DeVito as the only quarterback on the roster. It took them a while, but the Giants eventually agreed to terms with Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston, giving them 3 quarterbacks to kick off the 2025 NFL season. While the Giants have Wilson as the starter and Winston as a highly capable backup, head coach Brian Daboll reportedly spoke to another All-Pro quarterback before settling on their veteran QB room. New York Giants spoke to Aaron Rodgers this offseason, while the New York Giants could add a young prospect in the 2025 NFL Draft. Their quarterback room may already be set. Yet that doesn't mean this is the one they preferred. On Thursday, 4-time NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers made an appearance on the Pat McAfee Show, where he revealed several interesting developments. The biggest takeaway, as it relates to the Giants, is the fact that they reportedly spoke to Rodgers this offseason. It was a few teams I did talk to Brian Daboll, had great conversation with him, enjoyed him a lot. KOC is a buddy of mine, and we talked during the season. It was a great experience. Obviously, I went out to Pittsburgh. Rodgers on which teams he's spoken to. Rodgers later called Daboll a beautiful mind. Yet despite him not caring how much money he plays for, the two sides weren't able to come to a contract agreement for whatever reason. While he's often been linked to the Pittsburgh Steelers, Rodgers says he's also mulling retirement. Joe Schoen just dropped surprising truth about Giants QB draft plans. Drafting a QB isn't exactly G-mandatory. The New York Giants didn't sign Russell Wilson and Jameis Winston just to tread water. They signed them so they didn't have to panic. That's the biggest takeaway from Joe Schoen's pre-draft press conference, and it might just be the clearest signal yet about how Big Blue plans to handle the quarterback position next week. High level, Schoen doesn't feel the G-men must select a QB. That doesn't mean the quarterback carousel has stopped spinning. The Giants still hold the number 3 pick in next week's NFL Draft, and with Cam Ward likely heading to the Tennessee Titans at number 1. The options are intriguing. Travis Hunter and Abdul Carter have both been floated as possible top targets. Shedeur Sanders is still in play, and now New York is set to host a whirlwind of private workouts in the final stretch. Sanders, Jalen Milroe, and Tyler Shoghall before the draft kicks off in Green Bay. Joe Schoen doesn't feel pressure to draft. A quarterback, make no mistake, Joe Schoen didn't dodge questions at the podium. He just made it very clear where the Giants stand heading into the final week of chaos. With the signing of those 2 players, I think we put ourselves in a position where I don't think that's mandatory, Schoen said. The 2 guys we signed have played a lot of ball. I do think we upgraded that room compared to where it was a year ago. I like the guys that we have. Tommy DeVito is still in there and won games for us too. He's still developing. So we are happy with the makeup of the room right now. That's about as definitive as it gets without locking the door. The Giants are comfortable, not desperate. And in the NFL Draft, that's where you want to be. What Schoen didn't say is just as important. He didn't rule out taking a quarterback. He didn't dismiss the idea that Shedeur could be the guy at 3. He just reminded everyone that this team won't take a quarterback just for the sake of it. It has to be the right value. You'd like to have a young franchise quarterback. I think every general manager would. Everyone wants that, Schoen said. But the value has to be right. If you get that one wrong, you just gotta get that right. Schoen doesn't have to force anything. He's not boxed into a corner. Signing Wilson and Winston gave him that flexibility, and the late visits with Sanders, Milroe, and Show, that's just the Giants doing their due diligence. They're covering every angle, from a top 3 quarterback like Sanders to raw upside with Milroe to the experienced under-therader Show. Maybe they pull the trigger at 3. Maybe they roll with a defensive playmaker early and come back for a developmental QB on day 2 or 3. But whatever the plan is, it'll be on their terms. That's a very different vibe than last year. And thank goodness. The Giants have 5 picks inside the top 105. They've stabilized the roster in free agency. And now, with only a week to go, they've positioned themselves to simply take the best player available, whoever that ends up being. Whether it's Sanders, Schoen, Milroe, or someone we're not even talking about yet, one thing is clear. Joe Schoen isn't drafting a quarterback just to say he did. The Giants aren't operating out of panic or pressure this year. They've bought themselves time. And now with the board wide open, Schoen can afford to wait for the right guy on his terms. And now, G-Men fan, I want to hear from you. What's your opinion? On this, drop your thoughts in the comments. I don't know if you know this, but your opinion matters a lot for Big Blue. I'll be back any moment with more Big Blue news. Jets, Jets, Jets. Let's go, Giants.